The difference between the community center that you have in Canyon Country and the fact that we have money in the bank for the New Hall Library, we built the skateboard park, and we're finishing Cross Valley Connector. We did not have that money in the bank for the community center, so it's most prudent for a council to say, guys, we're still going to push it forward, just now is not the appropriate time. We immediately went in, we froze all the accounts, or froze all our positions of employment, and once again, we are the only place probably in the state of California where you don't see that we're laying people off, that we're in the red, we're looking to go bankrupt. You're ran by an efficient city council with an effective city manager. I could talk forever too. I'll make Lorene look like she's a mute. I'm just joking.
Hello, Councilman Ferry. My name is Roger Gitlin, and I'm a teacher, also a voter. I got a question. I have a question to ask you, but I got this in the mail. You're familiar with this?
Correct.
One of your fellow. It comes from the Citizens for Integrity in Government, West Hollywood, PR firm. It joins you and Councilmember West, Mayor West, and Mayor Pro Tem McLean joined at the hip. And illegal immigration is illegal. It talks about over the past several years, City Council members Lorene West, Frnk Ferry, and Marsha McLean have taken action to address illegal immigration locally, including directing staff, Sheriff's Department to coordinate numerous operations with ICE and do criminal background checks for the county illegally, conducted Operation Community Gang Sweep. I know these to be untrue because I checked the city agenda and I saw nothing on there about city agenda directing the city council directing ICE to come in and do a raid. And you're taking this credit here. And I'm perplexed on it because that's not been my experience with this council except for Mr. Keller. The council has been obstructionist, deflective, and marginalizing citizens like me.
I think I get your question, so I'll answer.
Well, I will. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Ferry. What exactly have you done? Because everything on this sheet you haven't done. Okay. Other than ceremoniously vote, what have you done?
Have the question?
And there's the question.
Okay. Before he goes in 20 minutes of an answer, because I know those who are here want to hear, Mr. Gitlin has been passionate about this issue forever. I'll be quite honest. Mr. Gitlin, this is his issue. It's been his issue for the 12 years I've been on the council. We all have jurisdictions. The city has jurisdiction, Congressman McKean has jurisdiction, the county has jurisdiction. Every time Cameron Smythe, every time Bob Keller, every time an individual on the council brought something forward, we responded and we passed it. You saw at the last council meeting, me specifically look for an E-Verify system. You saw at the council us support Congressman McKean on a federal issue, support his bills for the federal immigration issue. You saw our city manager look for an ICE deputy, which they would not allow us to buy as part of a budget item. You saw us go in and raid a place that had illegal immigrants that were hired, and the DA, they kicked them out. So the council is doing everything. Now let's be honest about this issue, because I know Mr. Gitlin is supporting Mr. Ghani strongly. This issue became an issue because a council member misspoke, and what he said became the issue. And so at the second rally, Senator Runner, one of the most respected elected officials, was actually shouted down for exactly what I said was going to happen on this issue. That you were going to have Nazis and KKKs and proud racists come forward who shout down Senator Runner, who is supposed to speak, to the point where Mr. Gitlin in the paper had to apologize to Senator Runner and said there would be no more rallies because he couldn't control exactly what I warned. This council is staunch in supporting the federal laws of this country. We'll continue to do so. In May, we're going to have a federal immigration thing where the county, the state, the federal government, ICE, everyone's going to be invited. We'll move forward, but we're going to move forward responsibly and as clear as I can be. I will back the laws of federal government. I will be aggressive in supporting those laws to be enforced. I absolutely will not stand side by side for those who use this as a racist issue for their means. I won't do it. Yes, sir. Hi, Mr. Ferry. How are you? So you got a dollar bill there. Well, is this a symbolic thing you're about to say, sir, with the dollar there?
No, they told me I had to wear green today, so
okay.
I did it with.
I don't want to have to pinch you.
Yeah, I didn't want to get pinched. I voted for you each time you have run, Mr. Ferry, and based on a story in the Signal, I don't know whether I will be voting for you this time. I read that you're recruiting football players and maybe other athletes for your high school in the San Fernando Valley. I did a little research, and this does not rise to the legal definition of conflict of interest. I do believe it is a moral conflict of interest, and it bothers me a lot. In your comments, please.
You're clearly a Hart High School fan. This is one of those things where...
Excuse me, sir. My daughter went to Valencia when you were there.
Then you know me well. What you know is I was a proud Valencia parent. Was there a better Valencia advocate? Never. When I went to Saugus High School and I put up the huge S in Saugus and I flew in the gymnasium in a Tooth Fairy outfit 3 stories high, you wouldn't find a better advocate for Saugus. I'm now at Alamany High School where I went to school, a school that was failing, where my principal asked me to come back, and now we're thriving and we're full. What I do is the same thing I do as a council member, the same thing. I hired the best people and let them do their job and get out of the way. Just as we look to hire the best chief of police, the best city managers, the best directors, I went out and hired, let's see, Rick Harrington and Dean Harrington, who have been to 11 CIF championships, won 6 championships. Why? Because champions know how to win. Champions know, just as I hired my best directors, just as I hired the best, I'm a $12 million business where I'm at now. I have to recruit, I have to put out a great product. This weekend, I was up in Sacramento as the winning school for the Academic Decathlon of all private schools. Last year, I was a robotic champion for LA County. Our kids, 98% go on to colleges and universities. I look for success everywhere on my campus. So I understand that might be the biggest criticism I have, that there are students. Yes, do I have 200 students from this valley that go down there to my school? Yes. Out of those 200 students, do they all play football? No. Probably a dozen. The rest of those kids are kids that want a great education, that want to go on and because of the values of the school. And that's, I don't know what else to tell you. I hired great coaches. People want to play for them. Yeah.
My name's John Terrell.
How are you, sir?
Benelli resident.
Yes.
You brought up in your opening statements about Las Lomas and how the city council fought that, being that it's not in the city. Why
Correct.
won't the city fight Newhall Ranch project, which is going to totally gridlock the 5 and the 126 freeway, with just as much?
Correct. What you have is a complete, I'm a very blunt guy. What you have here is Las Lomas was built by the exact same developers that built Jake's Way and built all the development on the other side of the river. They compact everybody in a small area. They don't care about parking requirements. They'll come, and I've seen them go and promise things and not follow through. So the same developer went there. At the time Newhall Ranch was built, you had Newhall Land and Farm, a developer who master planned over 40 years, who had paseos and parks, who had schools. They didn't give the land for the school or the money. They actually built the schools. They actually didn't give land for the park. They actually built the park. So you had a situation where you had 2 different developers with 2 different outcomes. Now, are we concerned as a council now that Newhall Land and Farm is not the company it was 15 years ago? Sure. Lennar, are we going to look carefully to see, are they going to do what was said through the county? Very much so. If you see at any point where we don't believe what was told to this community happen, you're going to see 5 council members that spent $10 million to fight CMEX, that spent a ton of money to fight Ellesmere, to fight Los Angeles. You'll see us step up because who we went in support of based on that development isn't who we were there, isn't the same people today. That's a very candid answer for myself. Annette. You